So, hi everyone. We are Aitsy. It took us 1 minute to come up with his name, but we are essentially
maybe you can get the play on words, you know?
AI-powered marketplace, AI-powered expertise marketplace. So a little bit. Next slide. Yeah. So a little bit about ourselves. My name is Dina, currently lead product engineering at Adobe, working on Firefly, our family of foundation models for creative workflows, previously founding engineer at an ML startup, automating data science workflows, sold to Data Robot, did some management consulting, where I focused on AI and data strategy for Fortune companies, and my academic background is in computer engineering. But I think most importantly, lately, my biggest qualification is being a power user of ChatGPT. I think that's going to be the most important qualification going forward.
And hi, I'm Ash. I formerly founded a company called Stockwell, which was building the future of retail by shrinking the store and bringing it to where consumers already were, where they lived, played, and worked. We sold that in 2020. Most recently, I helped run product and engineering at a startup called Crossmint. I was an APM at Google in 2014, and I got my master's in machine learning in 2013. I learned like SVMs and things like that, so I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, and yeah, excited to work with somebody like Dina on bringing something to the masses here.
Great. So as I mentioned before, I think future belongs to people who can leverage AI to the max. But then unfortunately right now, like 90% of people, except just like running a couple prompts on ChatGPT, are not using AI in their day-to-day to save hours of their time, right? You can save hours of your time, like writing emails, removing writer blocks, doing like generating code snippets, like cleaning data, all these stuff. So hours of time is not being saved because it's not really accessible to use LLMs. So, and there are a couple of reasons. The first is that in order to like get the most out of LLMs, you need to be good at prompt engineering. We've been saying that it's going to go away, but so far it hasn't. You have to have good prompt engineering skills to get the most out of it. But just prompt engineering is not enough. You have to inject some type of domain expertise or domain context. So for example, a marketing person who's really good at marketing is going to, like, the way they prompt, the context they inject, the output they get from an LLM is going to be significantly different, 10x different from someone who just pastes and says, like, make this a marketing email, right? And then if you want to have these kind of like AI tools running for you, automating your job day to day, like with minimal supervision, then you need to orchestrate these things somehow. So you need to orchestrate multiple prompts. You need to hook into some APIs. Maybe you need to write some code to automate these things. And those things are very hard to do. That makes it really inaccessible. And let's say you somehow have all these three skills. You can do all these three things. Where do you go to store this information? Where do you go to discover these tools that are already built? How do you share that with people? Most likely right now, you're just pasting it into your notes or in your Excel sheet and copy pasting to ChatGPT and like writing some custom code that runs on your machine and that kind of stuff. So there's no place or marketplace to go and discover these things and monetize your like essentially AI expertise with others.
Cool. Yeah. And so we think the solution is really simple. You start with the UI. You start with making it accessible. So the first thing we built is a very intuitive interface that allows anyone, non-technical folks, to do those three things: multi-chain prompting, inserting deep domain expertise via prompt engineering, and then bringing in first-party data, business data that is really hard to get into ChatGPT right now. There's just no interface. Second, that orchestration platform, right? Making things run smoothly, a no-code style environment that takes the complex workflows, puts a nice UI in front of it, captures the output, sends it to the right place. And as Dina kind of spoke to, right, once you kind of build these expert apps for, say, marketing leaders, HR leaders, that expertise is tied in that ChatGPT prompt chain, but it becomes very clear that you can start to sell that expertise, start to give it to the folks, say, underserved youth in Chicago who can't access the best resume creation. A great, Laszlo Bach making a resume bot might be able to change that and give more access to folks. I don't know if he's the right person, but you get my bitch. And so we actually have, we built this because it surprisingly doesn't exist. We have kind of our first customer runs a creative agency. And so the way this works, right, they take a standardized brand input form to essentially take in all the company data. What's your vision? Why did you get founded? And Right now, it takes, about 3 or 4 kind of college graduates about a week to do the brand discovery, to come up with the social media pillars, to come up with all these different pieces. Turns out, and I don't mean to trivialize the value of human labor, turns out that a couple of proprietary prompts chained together with kind of aggregating context does really well, at least for idea generation and coming up with an output. And so what I want to show you, just to make this really clear, is we have quite a bit of this built. Go ahead and show you a demo that takes you through sort of the core pieces of the product. Yeah, you guys can't see that? Okay. So the first thing we start with is a form UI. So this is a lot like Typeform, right? And so you can see this is actually a new client onboarding for a marketing agency. There's 21 questions in there. Questions like, what's your mission statement? What's your company name? What brand words do you want to avoid? Of course, like Typeform, you can click out and there's sort of a simple submission UI that you can put in front of users. It has a submit button. Works. Great. So that's sort of step 1. Step 2 then is creating prompts. So the idea here is I can create a brand new prompt and actually select the form that I want to take as the input. What's really interesting is now I can actually see all of the data that came from that form and preferentially inject it in the right part of my prompt chain. So again, I can say, what words do I want to avoid in talking about my brand? I can actually give that type of instruction, that type of context directly to ChatGPT. And again, once I've made this prompt for one audience, I've made it for every audience. Of course, you can deploy it. And the other thing we get here is the ability to upload first-party data as context, as well as integration against rapid APIs and open API. Finally, we have outputs. You can very easily, so every time somebody submits, you'll run the prompts. You can have fan-out architectures to get lots of prompts created. But the best part is the connectors, essentially like Zapier, where we allow you to connect into a prompt and either via webhook, via email, or my favorite, we actually can generate you a custom-built HTML page with just the output, and you can kind of determine the format in plain English. So I could actually, this for a friend, I had him input a bunch of data about how you met the friend, and then I wrote him a custom poem, and we made a custom HTML card that could be delivered to him. I don't know how to minimize this. That's great. There we go. Oh, nope, that didn't do it. Right? Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. Please.
Let us finish.
No. Yeah.
Sorry about that, but I wanted to finish our thoughts. So marketplaces are hard to build, right? Like, it's just, how do you get to a marketplace? Like, why would people be sharing their expertise here? Like, would people be buying these things? Like, this is questions you have to ask if you're trying to build towards a marketplace. So we take it by phases. So first phase is, let's build like 4 or 5 categories or 4 or 5 killer applications, right? So something like marketing agent that does it really well, something like a really good resume builder that's better than 90% of resume builders there, like some type of outreach email creator for real estate agents. Like, once you have 4 or 5 killer applications and people are using it more, then you can open it up to the community, have more people share their AI expertise, and slowly becomes a more of a actual AI expertise marketplace. And when you get a marketplace, that's where you get a lot of advantages as a marketplace, right? You can target it to small medium businesses. You can monetize it better. You can add like first party agents based on the user behaviors you collect. You can just do so much more when you go and become a marketplace, actually. And then the next one is like a little bit about the data mode, because when you are a marketplace, you're going to get you're going to get some data modes. The first one is that you're going to understand demand. So what people search for, what type of task they're trying to automate with AI. That is a very valuable information that can inform you what kind of apps you need to put on, right? And then you can get information like, what are people clicking on, what people are actually purchasing, what people are actually willing to pay to have AI automate that workflow. So all that information can be used to create better bots, first party things that are like less margin, and so on. And then the second one is that in the example of a resume builder or template generation, is that, let's say someone generates a resume And then let's say the resume that got generated by AI versus the final output that was exported and used for job application, that delta is a data mode. That data is that difference is a unique data we can feed into different models and keep improving our models. So for example, the more people use that bot, the more we're going to learn about that delta, and our specific AI resume builder agent will be better than some of these general models because it was fine-tuned on actual user data, on actual real life use cases. So those are some examples of data modes we could achieve via a marketplace.
Cool.
Yeah, that's also like.
We're happy to answer any questions. You cannot know.
So yeah, that was awesome. So any questions? Any questions in the room? Paul, you want to go first?
Yeah, finally. I was waiting for it. Two questions. One is it kind of a no-code LangChain? That was my first kind of metaphor that when I saw it.
Maybe like Typeform meets no-code LangChain meets Zapier, but I think like, we're bringing so many things together. I actually think, 32K context windows coming, and like maybe prompt engineering disappears, but packing that context with the most relevant information is what's important. So if you can upload a PDF of all of your last sales for the last week, right, and we can get that into the context, I think those types of no-code enablement flows, I think, are where we really differentiate. But yes, I think, part of what you just said, I'll spin it positively, is folks who aren't technical can't use LangChain. This is a way for them to access those tools.
It is quite like a learning curve to use it right now. So I think this is much more abstracted, compared to LangChain.
And second is, so that this is a decentralized model of contributing prompts, right? And then Jasper sort of does it in-house. So differentiation between Jasper that kind of analyze all this data, what people want to use prompts for, they combine, they use LangChain on the back end, right? How do you guys differentiate? Why am I going to win against like a powerful company that sort of centralized everything?
Well, they're focusing on one, right, like on one vertical. It is marketing for Jasper AI, but then this is like for smaller tasks. Like it literally could be like the best pizza maker or best gardener. They want to share make that expertise available there. Could be as small as resume builder, and then it could be a marketing agent. Like, so once you become bigger, more people use it. It could be cheaper to compete against, marketplaces like Jasper. Like, you're not focused on one vertical. You're kind of a hub for different type of smaller tasks that are hyper specialized on one thing and is better at that one thing than 99% of whatever other tools out there.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback a little bit, like Jasper's done a good job of focusing on that one vertical, but I think what we really want to focus on is solving problems for experts in their very niche areas. And I think that's step one, right? And I think the orchestration that we're providing, most of these folks don't have the capability, nor the expertise. I think the UI is not going to allow them to achieve the types of outputs because Jasper is just copy paste. But again, our thesis, multi-chain orchestration, expert prompt engineering, and context that's dynamic. Right. So I think that's where we get a little differentiated. And I think one piece, just to kind of double down, like the marketplace motion, right? The diversity, of human knowledge, right, is so much larger than the one application that maybe Jasper is experiencing.
Anyone online? I know that there are a few questions that will come in. I can read them off here. So, okay, first one, Aitsy, brilliant. This is something I can use right away. That's already got a testimonial.
If you want to go to formgpt.net, log in.
You can try it. It's like POC.
Credits. Sorry. So formgpt.net, we have not gotten monetization up, so please be gentle. But we'd love for you to use it and leave some feedback and any usability issues. It should all work very well. So formgpt.net, not .com. Formgpt.
We'll post it. Yeah. Next one is let's see. So what's your view on building a marketplace versus deploying this like within enterprises? I guess you guys may have covered.
Yeah, we did think about enterprise. I think there's definitely a market for that. For this, like we just exercised on like we were trying to solve our own pain points, right? Building for your own use case. Like, how do I make myself productive? I just want to go to a store and just like download it, not worry about orchestration and different things like generating that good prompt. But I think there's a tremendous opportunity in the enterprise marketplace too. Like, yeah, that's something. I was thinking about.
Tremendous
we
institutional.
We definitely thought about that.
I'll use it to enterprise marketplace.
Yeah, thank you.
Elad's our first.
Give us your email.